That's right, he's done so much. 90 years. Truly a blessing. Mrs. Salome Francois, New Horizons School, touched so many lives. And those of us who were there at the Red Church can tell you she has all the strength to blow out 90 candles and more. Great stuff.
Joy 99.7 FM.
Okay, today I'm talking about vaccines and vaccine safety. Now you're going to wonder why I'm not talking about vaccine effectiveness or efficacy. Looks like the world is more interested in a lot of the talk about safety. Should we be taking vaccine scares seriously? Should we disregard them? How are they developed? What do they do? Well, I've got the man in the seat here. You know, when I team up with him, it's a bit like a Martin Lawrence and Will Smith. But he's a professor of pharmacology, Professor Alex Dodu, currently the CEO of the Ghana Standards Authority. And we'll be looking at vaccines, all the questions. What does it truly mean when we say a disease has been eradicated? Send your questions and concerns to me. WhatsApp 0244340437. Ultimate Health on Joy 99.7 FM. Handsome Jamestown boy. Alex, it's been ages.
Good afternoon, Naughty. It's been a long time.
Right. And he walked into the studio and he's from church and he has this plastic cup with looks like water, but he tells me that on Sundays water can turn into wine. But what's in your cup?
Water. Pure water from Joy FM's dispenser.
Okay. You're the pharmacist, so I believe you.
You have to.
You probably have some qualification in mixtures, eh?
Sometimes, yes.
Right, but it's great to have you.
Thank you, Naughty. It's great to be here, and good afternoon to your listeners.
Yeah. It's been difficult getting you, but I'm glad we've got you.
For God and country.
Right, God and country. So how's the Standards Authority?
We are trying to establish standards, and we are trying to make sure they are enforced. We are getting there.
Right.
We are getting there. We are nowhere near where we have to be.
Okay.
But we will get there.
But maybe you're the right guy to have in the seat.
For my sins, yes.
Okay, Alex, we've done so many things over the years. We've touched on vaccines before. But, last Sunday when we were given a break because of football, you and I went over some of the things we've looked at in the past. Our change in malaria first-line policy in 2005.
Yes.
When we had the battles with dewormers.
2007.
2007, the ban or the, should I say, directive when it came to using anti-cough mixtures for under 12-year-olds.
Absolutely.
Right. And then 2015.
H1N1. No, 2015. Oh, okay.
That was when you had
Ebola.
Ebola with pariment.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Today we set out to educate again. Vaccines. And I want to do the track record of vaccines. And I believe you're the right person to do it with.
I think so, because I've served for years. Well, I was the first chairperson for the Global Vaccine Safety Initiative of the World Health Organization. So maybe I come into this with quite a lot of knowledge and authority.
Right.
But importantly...
Modestly so.
I'm from Jamestown. We are very modest, and I support Olympics.
Okay.
What do you expect? But you didn't mention one thing. I don't know whether you remember about 6 years ago or 10 years ago when there was a story about goat serum.
Goat serum. Oh, yeah.
Cures HIV.
Yeah. I remember that.
Because I think we did something on that as well. And
we
we're trying to differentiate between Apochincacra and goat serum.
Right.
But those were all historical. But I think vaccines. When you hear the word vaccines, the first thing which should come to mind is smallpox.
Right.
And the next thing is, where is smallpox?
Right.
We use these three because vaccines, in medical terms, have been the most cost-effective interventions in human history.
Right.
As well as health is concerned.
Okay.
Vaccines, and I'll repeat, have been the most cost-effective interventions
Right.
in public health.
This is not just a statement you're making. It's backed by scientific.
It's global. It's global. I mean, thanks to vaccines, we don't have smallpox anymore.
Right.
Those days that those guns with those many faces were used to punch you, they are history. Thanks to vaccines, we are almost seeing the end of polio. Thanks to vaccines, in countries where vaccination takes place, we are no longer seeing measles.
Right.
Thanks to vaccine, you can go to Kolebu Komfanochi. Since we introduced the 5-in-1, cases of meningitis and diseases prevented by those vaccines have more or less disappeared in those hospitals.
Okay.
So we know vaccines work. We know they are effective.
We can cross borders. We can travel in safety. Go and
yellow
come.
fever, now there's even a discussion of discontinuing it because right now we are seeing less and less yellow fever cases.
Okay.
Rabies. So vaccines work. They are cheap, they are effective, and they transform societies.
Okay. So let's come to basics. What is a vaccine? I mean, when you read, you're told it's a biological agent. It's actually living, and so many other things that perhaps inordinately scare people. What's a vaccine?
So a vaccine, in very, very simple terms, because I'll give two definitions to help the public. The first one is that it's a product that you take when you are healthy,
right,
to prevent you from getting a disease.
You're not taking it when you got the disease.
No, and that is why the scares are nice, because you don't give vaccines to people who are ill. It's only given to healthy people to protect from disease.
Okay.
Secondly, vaccines will contain a little bit of the disease that is supposed to cure.
Okay.
So to the public, once again, let's explain, how do you get immunity? The whole world is war. It's war. So vaccine comes like an armed robber or a thief or anybody, but it's a biological. It's a small thing, you don't see it.
Okay.
It can kill you.
Right.
And the only way to overcome it next time is to survive the first attack. I mean, if someone comes to your house
let's just backpedal a bit, Alex. Yep. You said vaccines come like the disease comes like an armed robber.
The disease comes like an armed robber.
Thank you.
The disease comes, not vaccines.
Not vaccines, yeah.
The disease.
Okay.
So what happens is that there are basically two ways of protecting yourself. If you get a disease, let's say you get polio,
right?
The measles, it attacks you. You get severe measles. When you get cured of measles, your body, God in His wisdom has created something called memory cells in your body.
Okay.
They will now remember that that thing which came the last time it looks like measles. When it comes again, we'll beat it.
Okay.
Right? So that was the crude way. But when you use that, we call it natural immunity.
Okay.
Get a disease, survive it, and you will live forever.
So your body will build the antibodies to fight it. Based on some form of memory, some retention it has.
Your DNA.
Right.
God is a good God. Your DNA has the capacity to memorize attacks.
Okay.
That it's able to withstand.
Okay.
So when that same war comes, you win it hands down.
Okay. That's one way. Natural.
That is the easiest way.
Natural immunity.
Yep. But it's not safe.
Okay. Because you might not win the fight.
Usually about 50% will die.
Right.
So survival of the fittest.
Okay.
So science realized that, wait a minute, when the bacteria comes into your body, it's only a small part which can kill you. Can we take that small part and put a little bit into your body, small bit, so that your body will get small of the disease, small pet, but not enough to cause disease, so that your body will remember.
Right. So you're triggering the body's immune response.
Thank you.
Using a lower level of the same.
That is why when you live in Ghana and you are born in Ghana, your body develops resistance, or rather the ability to fight malaria.
Okay.
And if you get malaria, it's not too severe.
Okay.
When a non-immune person comes from Europe and America to Ghana and gets malaria, they die. They can die within 24. Sometimes within 12 hours, they are dead.
Right.
Because their body won't be there. And in fact, that is why when you have a child and you keep him or her in a very sterile environment, they also die.
Because the body hasn't had the opportunity.
Thank you.
To build up the resistance.
So that joke about small germs will help. I mean, I know we over-exaggerated,
so when
but
we're
it's
in
true.
Secondary school and we're drinking off water in a gallon that has been sitting there for ages and so on and so forth. Actually, our body was recording all this stuff.
You were giving suboptimal doses of toxic stuff to build the body's ability to fight it.
Okay.
So that is what vaccines do.
So when you introduce it, you're trying to get the body to just start the process and then record it.
You are introducing the small part of the army into your body. Then your body will develop the ability to fight that army. That when it comes in big forces, you fight it.
Okay.
Now, for some vaccines, you only take the skin I mean, we call it the surface part. I'm
Right.
just being basic.
Okay.
But some you take the whole organism because
Okay.
you know it's a bit of a study. You find out which part of it. For influenza, we know which parts. We know the small parts. We call it the H and the N parts.
Right.
And then we put them into a vaccine and then add a few things because the vaccine is a pharmaceutical product.
Okay.
So it must be packaged, preservatives and other additives and other things to complete the product because you are going to ship it across borders and so on and so
Okay.
forth. So vaccines essentially are small, in fact, micro, tiny bits of microorganisms which are packaged as products introduced into your body to let your body primed or prepared or trained to fight disease.
Okay.
And it's a deliberate process
Okay.
of doing that.
So we deliberately create or manufacture these products from what we know about the disease, and then we introduce it into the system. Now, the concern of many is that, well, you're giving this to healthy people, right? It's known to cause disease, right? Now, what is the procedure for developing a vaccine, and when can we say it is efficacious or effective? What level of response are we going to measure over time before we say it's safe to give it on a mass basis? For somebody who sat on the pinnacle of the global organization that oversees these
And I
things.
have seen a lot of vaccine
Right.
crisis nationwide.
Right.
I mean, globally.
So can you take us through just basically, and if you've just joined us, this is Ultimate Health on Joy 99.7 FM. We're talking with Professor Alex Dodu, a professor of pharmacology. Am I right? Yeah. He currently sits as the CEO of the Ghana Standards Authority, but he sat at the highest international level, if I can say, when it comes to these things. So I brought him into the studio. You will note that I am deliberately, because I built the antibodies, avoiding the major current controversy so that we get the fundamentals first before we start entertaining questions about, well, I watched this on social media and this and that and that and that. Okay, let's build the fundamentals first, knowledge over noise, and then we can look at some of those contentious or controversial issues. If you have any questions, concerns, WhatsApp is 0244 340437. We're live on Facebook and YouTube, and shortly we'll activate the phone lines as well. So yeah, back to the procedure and the process.
So what you do, or what we scientists or all scientists do, is that historically you realize that, okay, you've got a product, you can give it into a human being. One thing we see, and we are very careful when it comes to vaccines, vaccines change the body forever.
Okay.
So Noti, I'll repeat
So
it
you are
slowly.
changing manufacturer settings
Yes,
Okay.
because they change
by
your DNA.
introducing the vaccine.
They change your DNA forever.
Okay.
Because your body gets memory about something.
Okay.
So normally when you are given the vaccine, we call it an antigen. It's a big word.
Right.
And then your body will develop the antibody which will fight the antigen
Okay.
and keep you safe.
Right.
So now you have a product, you think it's a vaccine. Fine. A vaccine against what? The first question we ask as experts is that, do you need to put the whole organism or just a bit of it?
Okay.
You know, it's like kinky. Is it the whole kinky you need or the water under the kinky, which would cure? If it's the water, why put the whole kinky? So for most vaccines, they are not whole organisms, just a tiny part.
Right.
But for several, for the yellow fever and co, you put the whole organism.
Okay.
Now, when you have done that, that is the start. That is in animals and in the lab. Then you approach your FDA, Ghana's FDA or any other FDA, and then say that, look, I have this. Can I use it in human beings? And that is where the whole game starts.
Okay.
Because first and foremost, national authorities, including Ghana's parliament, have passed laws that protect Ghanaians.
Okay.
But internationally, before you do any study, we have the Declaration of Helsinki,
Right.
which says that no scientific study, whether it's for vaccine, for drug,
Okay.
should take precedence over the rights of any human being.
Okay.
So for the sake and the benefit of one human being, we stop trials costing billions of dollars.
Okay.
Because the life of one person, so that is how you do all those
Okay.
things. Then you go to FDA. The national authorities, FDA,
Right.
ministry, will give you the right
In whichever country,
Whichever country.
jurisdiction, right?
to go to class 1 with the
Okay.
vaccine.
Okay.
Class 1 is just to see whether this vaccine is safe. We don't care whether it works.
So this is after you've tested it. You said on.
Animals, you've done computers,
Right.
published papers. This is like 15, 20 years.
So now, like an attorney general, you have a prima facie case,
thank you.
and now you're moving to a higher level of verification. Okay.
And at that level,
which involves human beings.
Okay. So the word we use, the technical word, is a clinical trial.
Clinical trial.
When you hear the word clinic, then it means human beings are coming involved.
Great.
But we also know that whatever you test in animals, and today's a Sunday, and our God is a good God. Animals and human beings, well, human beings can be described as animals in biology.
Okay.
But we're also different.
Okay.
And no matter the test you do in animals, you cannot equate them directly to human beings.
Straight. Okay.
Usually, you extrapolate, but there are always surprises.
Right.
So the first test you do, we call it class 1, phase 1, is to see whether this
phase
vaccine...
1 clinical trial. Okay.
So the phase 1 clinical trial has only one interest, 0 NE, ONE, is it safe?
Okay.
So normally you don't do it in more than 20 people. You give it to the 20 people, you look at it, and then you look at the reports. If it is safe, according to your record, you give the data back to the Ghana's FDA.
Okay.
They will look at it, maybe it takes 1 year. Say, okay, it looks safe, it makes sense. Now you can apply to go to the next level, which is phase 2 or class 2.
So based on your results and findings from the phase 1,
you can go
and all other earlier, should I say, investigations, you will be given the permission by an authority
with a license and a certificate
to move further.
And that certificate is not given just like that. In fact, Ghana's FDA will not give it to you till you've gone to the Ghana Health Service Ethics and Protocol Review Committee. Why do we do that? The nation of Ghana believes that, yes, FDA may do their work well, but you need a group of scientists, priests, lay people, we call them the protocol review. So some are looking at, does it make sense? Does even Ghana need it? Would it affect Ghanaians? They too will take sometimes 3 months, sometimes 9 months, sometimes 2 years to say that this makes sense. This will not damage anyone.
Okay.
The priests, the imams are there. They'll say, okay, inshallah, this is good.
Right.
So they are also overseeing what you are doing.
Okay.
And their interest is safety, safety, safety.
Right.
Then if all this have been settled, FDA is happy with number 1, you go to number 2. Again, you go to the ethics committee.
So number 2, for the benefit of my listeners, is primarily concerned with safety.
Number 1 is safety.
Number 1 is
only safety.
Right.
Number 2 is efficacy. Does it work?
Does it do what it says?
In a few people.
Right.
Only a few people.
Okay.
Only a few people. If you go to too many people, you get confused.
Okay.
So you go to a few people. So you start from 20, then you go to 100.
Okay.
Again, you need license from Ghana Health Service, FDA, across the world.
Okay.
If after phase 2 clinical trials or class 2 trials, the student passes,
right.
Again, you review the information.
Okay.
Then it's okay, now can we do it on the large scale?
Right.
That is class 3.
Okay.
Class 3 is different countries. You give it in, it has to mimic real life to an extent.
Okay.
It has to have the vaccine. There may be those who would not receive the vaccine, so that you see those who got it and those who didn't get it.
You have a control group.
You have a control group, we call it. And the doctor or physician giving the vaccine doesn't know what he or she is given. You have dummy, fake ones, and real ones. Okay. So that somebody sits somewhere, usually outside your country, looking at the information, just to ensure that the independence of the data is not compromised.
All right. So 27 minutes past the hour of 2 on Joy 99.7 FM. I'm with a guy professor of pharmacology. That's why some of his examples include Kenke. But we're trying to break it down to your level. The WhatsApp have started coming already. This is from Dede in Maryland. Is Doc saying measles is eradicated? Is he referring to Ghana or globally? Unfortunately, there is measles outbreak in the U.S. and even people who have had the shots at childhood are being advised to get booster shots. Dede will be coming to that, right? Where
measles have not been eradicated.
Right. Yeah.
And America is in trouble because of
that. All right. And again, this speaks to some of the parameters where a country can declare some, should I say, reprieve or freedom from a condition, and then somebody can break the chain and it can be reintroduced.
America made so much progress.
Yeah.
Measles was almost gone.
Yeah.
Then some people said, oh, if you take the measles together with other products, you may have problems. Autism. The problems of the rich.
We'll get there. Okay. We'll get there.
I won't drink the soup.
Right. Okay. Funny nurse. I hope that's your name. Funny nurse, but nurse is Nurze. Ask him at what age a child can't receive the BCG vaccine. All right. Funny is asking that. Wow. I want you to now start referring to books you stopped reading a long time ago. But we're still establishing the fundamentals about vaccines, okay? And we're just with the help of Professor Alex Dodu in the studio going through the stages of trials before even it is released and licensed for mass usage, right? So we've gotten to phase 2.
Phase 2, and now we are going to class 3.
Okay.
So you have a biological product, you give it to animals, and you think it can cure the disease it's supposed to cause. So you form a vaccine.
Okay.
You come to FDA, you go to class 1. FDA, Ghana Health Service, ethics, priests, imams, they all meet and say, oh, this is safe, this will not damage us. Then you go to class 1 to look at its safety.
Okay.
It passes, you go to class 2 to ask, does it work in a few group of people? Just usually 100 maximum.
Okay.
If it works and the data shows that there's more benefit than risk, then you are given a license to do it in the large scale in different hospitals, different countries. And at that stage, it's also with a control so that the doctor doesn't know what he's giving and the patient doesn't know what he or she is receiving. So that at the end of the day, when you have the information, independently, you can see whether it works or it doesn't work.
Okay.
Because there's a money motive. Let's not forget.
There are ulterior motives or competing motives in this whole business of developing vaccines.
Products.
Let me just try and break down what Prof. Dodo is saying about a control group. What it means is that you've started developing this product, right? Now you want to test it on a limited sample. Now what he's saying is that the clinicians who use this developing or yet to be developed fully product are not aware of which group of patients are actually getting the product and which group are not getting the product.
Yep.
So they are blind and therefore unbiased.
Exactly.
Right. So if they have 100 patients, it is designed in such a way that some of them will get the product, some of them don't. And then we want to look at the effect. This design prevents the clinician or the doctor
from being biased,
from doctoring the findings. So that's what we mean by a control group, right? So having done this, now you have a very robust finding.
And in fact, Naughty, since today is Sunday, I have to go into my biblical thing. I'm coming from church.
Okay.
If you refer to the Bible in the book of Daniel, there was a time that some Jewish guys were told that they should eat some food. And you know what they told the king? They said, King, let your people eat what they will eat. This will be our diet. But after a year or 2 years, check us and see who is better.
Right.
And they were healthier and fitter compared to the other group.
Right.
So these sort of comparison so clinical trials started in the Bible.
So research design was even in biblical times.
Even standards cry in the Bible. You see.
All right.
So
amen to that.
Amen, brother.
Right. So coming back on track. So after you pass this stage, you have now very, should I say, robust information about the qualities and the efficacy and safety of your product.
Absolutely. And the stage 3, you normally would do up to about 5,000 people.
Okay.
But in the year 2000, we had an issue with one vaccine, a rotavirus vaccine.
Okay.
Where even after passing phase 3 and being released in the US market, they noticed a particular condition.
Right.
So the product was removed quickly and tested in a larger group. So currently, including the malaria vaccine, they are only given license after you've tested it in up to 15,000 or more infants.
Okay, great. Alex, 32 minutes past the hour of 2. I'm going to ask you this, right? So you're testing, you're not sure yet, and you are compliant with these regulations that say on this level test this way and for these purposes and so on and so forth. Now, the people, the human beings you enlist to test, what are they told? And what are their rights at these stages of vaccine development? I know it applies also to drug development and so on and so forth. And I know my listeners will recognize that. But the people, the human lives that are being enlisted and used to test and verify a vaccine or a product such as this, what are the protocols that protect them?
They have the biggest protection ever. So one, first and foremost, they have to, if it's a child, your parents, your guardians have to understand what is going on. They are given an information sheet. They have to have what we call a signed, informed consent. Basically, your rights are that you have agreed to do this for the benefit of society.
You are told everything about the process.
In your language, you understand. If you don't understand the language, then you shouldn't take part.
Okay.
And then you are told that you can pull off at any time for no reason.
You can withdraw from
the study, say, I'm not interested. And that withdrawal should attract zero sanctions.
Okay.
So if it's Kolebu or any hospital, just because you withdrew didn't mean that tomorrow, when you want to go to for treatment, they will say, "Oh, cry now." Oh, I mean, you near me.
Right.
No. So you have full rights, and even better still, and I've sat on some committees for HIV/AIDS. When these things start, if you notice benefits in one group,
Right.
you stop the study. Because there's a principle of beneficence.
Right.
If somebody is benefiting more,
Right.
that's, you said blinded. If those who are blinded, one part of the blind people are benefiting, you apply it across board.
Okay.
Equally, if one part is suffering, you stop the trial.
Okay.
So the safeguards are to the participants, they are not patients,
Right.
are the biggest.
Are they
people.
paid, Alex? I mean, there are several competing motives. Some people say, well, I want money, so whatever you do it. I'm on board. What are the protocols for that? Are subjects in these trials, if I can call them that, are they paid to take part?
They are given compensation, and these compensation were agreed by the World Medical Association together with all professionals. Why was it so? Prior to the early 70s, most people remember that in the US,
All right.
prisoners were used for clinical trials without their consent
Okay.
and without their knowledge, and there was damage done.
Okay.
Currently, in the modern world, including Ghana, no trial will go on without compensation
Right.
to the participants. However, compensation should not be inducement.
Right.
So right now, if you want to do a trial in Ghana, and you go to the Ghana Health Service will say, how much compensation are you paying? You say 10,000 cedis per hospital visit. They will not approve the trial. Because it's inducement. I mean, 10,000 is a lot of money, and for a poor person.
So there are restrictions and limitations in terms with regard to how much, should I say, compensation, in quotes.
Because it should not be inducement.
Right.
It should not be such that your poverty will cause you to sign up because, Charlie, all that be die. Let's get something and, cut out.
Okay, let me bring it or put it this way for the benefit of my listeners. And listeners, shortly I will read out and we'll get responses to your questions. I can see them piling up. My antibodies are strong, so I'll wait a bit. But let me also understand, can a country be induced or a regulatory authority such as a country's FDA, can they be induced? And who monitors this whole business of compensation?
I would say that inducing a country is very, very difficult. If you are doing a trial, which is internationally recognized.
Right.
Because we have good clinical practice, we all sign up to it, you study it and you do it. And if it's quote unquote a banana republic, yes. But a sovereign country, including Ghana, is impossible.
So it's not possible for a country to, for the sake of monetary gain or whatever gain, to sign up and say, well, we are going to allow this, or if we even close our eyes about stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, we've quickly passed this thing to stage 4.
I would say it's not possible.
The international apparatus cannot be manipulated in this way?
It cannot be manipulated. You may talk about the competence of the country to supervise the trial and to carry it forward. I mean, and when we come to the malaria vaccine trial, Kenya hasn't started. Ghana has taken time and asked a lot of questions before starting. However, people forget it was Ghana who did the trials. The first person ever on earth to receive the malaria vaccine was in Ghana, in Kintampo.
Right.
And when the results were good in the end, and they said, let's use it, Ghana was the first country to apply and say, okay, can we be among the countries that will trial this on the large population?
Okay.
So, for Ghana's sake, when it comes to the malaria vaccine, we are actually the developers, rather than, I've seen all
Does that make the vaccine ours? What about the legal business? It's like striking oil, but what does it mean?
Ideally, if we had wanted and we did not go for that approach, we should have asked for intellectual property rights, but we didn't go for it, so I didn't see.
All right, great. 38 minutes past the hour of 2. We're learning and growing on Ultimate Health, Joy 99.7 FM. My guest is Professor Alex Dodu, a professor of pharmacology. We're going through the basics, the fundamentals of vaccine development, whilst also considering the important benefits that we yield or reap from vaccines globally, right? And we're also considering the question, should we just disregard vaccine scares, despite the huge gains and benefits that accrue through the use of vaccines? The anti-vaccine lobby is quite a vociferous and sometimes even militant one. And we're seeing a lot of that. That's why I brought Prof into the studio to look at the whole, should I say, range of issues. Upstream, downstream, we'll look at them. Let me try and look at some of the things that have come up on my console as well. I've got this from, is there a name? Samuel Nupenu, who says that, what's he saying? Please, when you're sending with, oh no, there's a video there that is going to cause me trouble. Okay, let me get out of that. Lots of things that people send to us. Greetings to you, Naughty, and the professor of pharmacology. Why is it that one can't take medicine with cold water? This is from Peter in McCarthy Hill. Oh, Peter. The professor is whispering to me that it is not true.
It's not true.
Can you quickly discharge that?
I mean, you can take medicines with any water. Please don't read too much WhatsApp messages.
Okay. Right. I'm trying to read this message without going into a video the person has sent. It keeps going there, and okay, I'm out of there. Okay, I'm not that technically savvy to dodge that. I'll go back to it in a second. I can see Dede is typing in Maryland there. She has loads of questions. We've answered the measles one, right? So somewhere along the line, the U.S. broke that chain of protection, right? So when do we say that we have adequate, sufficient coverage in vaccination to say a country or a restricted area is protected?
So building the story, Naughty, what we said is that you said the vaccine is good, there is license, and it's used large scale.
Right.
When it's used large scale, usually for the first 2 years, we have intensive monitoring.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Naughty, what we know, there's something called herd, that's in cattle, protection.
Right.
Usually, when you've vaccinated about 85% of the population, in some diseases up to 90%, the whole population is protected because there's not enough disease to go around.
Okay.
Now what's happened in all countries, but typically now in Western Europe and the US, is that they were fully protected, more or less, against measles.
Okay.
Such that in the whole US you get like 20 cases.
Right.
So because the people haven't seen measles before, no doctor has seen measles, a group calling themselves the anti-vaccine lobby said that vaccines may be good, but the additives, the additions, or when you add measles with another vaccine, I mean, they made all their noise.
We have combination vaccines.
Combination vaccines.
So they started complaining about some.
And they said they can cause autism, they can cause this. A lot of this have been discounted.
Okay.
Nonetheless,
scientifically,
they have been proven us wrong. They claim mercury. Some of these vaccines contain thimerosal, which is a preservative, which contains tiny amounts of mercury, and that the mercury will stay in your brain. I mean, all those stories. The results in the U.S. is now. The U.S. is having outbreaks of measles, not just this year.
Right.
In fact, tell the day that this started way back in 2013. I was in Washington. Washington State had huge problems. And it spread. It spread in France, it spread in the UK. And if we don't take care, Western Europe and the developed countries are going to get outbreaks, which will blow their mind.
Right.
Now, that is our biggest worry. Our biggest challenge is that we have the solution. People have got complacent because they haven't seen the disease.
Right.
Now we're having a nasty outbreak, which is completely preventable. And sadly, even in the UK, lives have been lost.
Right.
People are dying because of ignorance.
Right.
But I don't use that word.
Okay. Last time you used, you were hauled to Parliament.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So again, when we have this cover, we shouldn't become complacent, and disease surveillance and monitoring and all that must be continuous
till the disease is eradicated. And you asked me that question, Naughty. Till it's eliminated and eradicated. Eradicated means that it's gone.
So smallpox, for example, cannot come back?
It's eradicated.
Where has it gone?
Basically, what happens is that when these diseases are organisms.
Yeah.
And they also try to live by, it's like malaria.
Right.
I mean, the mosquito bites you to spread the generations.
Okay.
So as less and less are around,
Right.
they begin to obviously disappear because their lifestyle comes to an end.
Process
Their
of
life cycle.
extinction.
Extinction. They are becoming extinct. That's the better word.
Okay.
So at that stage, normally we call it eliminate. We've eliminated it.
Right.
Eliminate means that we've taken it from the system.
Okay.
But have we eradicated? Eradication means that it cannot come back. And normally you look for the last patient, you wait for 3 years. If there's none anywhere in the world, then you say it's been eradicated.
Okay.
That's globally. Because once it's in one country, it can happen. And when it's eradicated, usually, the idea should have been to take out that microorganism. But countries like the US and others will keep a few stocks.
Okay.
Just in case people with criminal minds develop,
They
let me know.
reintroduce it, and then you have an antidote. All right. 43 minutes past the hour of 2. I definitely got to open that way. That phrase is wrong, eh? Activate the phone lines.
Activate.
But we tend to say open the phone lines. 0302.
Belemo phone,
Belemo BA. All right. Okay, 0302 216 541. Those are the buttons to push if you have buttons to get in on Ultimate Health on Joy 99.7 FM. We're having very enlightening discussion with Professor Alex Dodu from Jamestown. He's a professor of pharmacology. He sits. You still sit on the WHO? Or?
I sit on a few of their boards and panels, and I have sat for years on the Global Advisory Committee on Vaccine Safety. You examine.
You do. Wow. Some people are trying to tell me these days you're a politician. I won't go there. Denise says if vaccines are biblical, we said the process. We looked at the design. Okay. But we didn't say vaccines are biblical, right? Why do most churches preach against vaccination? Sorry, I'm trying to laugh. Trying not to laugh. I've heard during interviews with the measles outbreak that their faith does not allow vaccination. This is from Dede.
No, Doctor, I'll counteract that immediately. I would say that any church, any religion which is going to say that anything to protect human life, which is founded on science given by the good Lord through his own people, he's doing a disservice to his people. And not I was one of the lead people to help in solving the polio crisis in Nigeria in 2003. I had to go to Iran and other countries. They had an assertion, they had a worry that this was an attempt to basically sterilize Muslim men in northern Nigeria.
Right.
In the end, we said, look, we have countries who are Islamic with extreme knowledge and capability to produce vaccine. They said, then we take it from them. So I was in Iran, we spoke to Egypt, we went to Pakistan. And in the end, Nigeria said, okay, we'll take it from Islamic countries just to satisfy those who had those notion that is an anti-Muslim campaign. But I can tell you that both in Sharia law and in the Bible, we all know that protection of human beings through God and Allah's given knowledge is a sacred duty.
Okay, great. I've got Ben on my line from Dansuman. Ben, thanks for waiting. Good afternoon.
Yes, Note, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks. Share with us.
Yeah, good afternoon to Prof. Dodu. Yeah.
Right.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, sir. These are moral issues that we ought to talk about. There are moral issues, actually. Human life is at stake or at risk here. Talk about the trials by Pfizer in Nigeria. So people are still battling that, and it's very sad, So I want to ask the Prof, will he ever avail any of his children or family to vaccine trial?
Okay.
If no, why? Did he not,
All right. Your question is clear.
No, please, let me ask, because I have a couple of questions to ask.
No, listen, I want to flow.
No, please, let me ask, so that when I'm off, if people can talk. Why is he happy, for others, especially the poor? No,
listen to me, please. Please, allow me to regulate. I'll let you ask your question, right? You've asked the question, the man has not answered, and you are moving on as if he said his children will not do this or that. So that is why.
Okay, so the question I have is, we have done so many trials, especially the one that Parliament spoke against, which he was even hauled to Parliament. What if indeed he's happy? Why is it that during that trial, any of his children wasn't part of it?
Oh, really?
But
okay, all right. Your point is well taken. Let me take Evans in Kasua. I'll let you answer, please.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll let you answer. But Evans in Kasua, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, please.
Yes, you're welcome.
My name is Evans, as I said.
Right.
I just want to know much about UTI. I mean, the causes and then the
urinary tract infection?
Yes, boss.
Okay, we're doing a specific topic today, okay? You can give your number to my producer. I'll see if I can, if you have a problem, go to hospital and they can sort it out. But if you want a program on UTIs, we can do that and program later. Is that okay?
Okay.
All right, but my producer will take your number. I'll see if I can help along with that as well, okay?
All right.
Great stuff. 0302 216 541. We'll get an answer for the first caller in a second. Chidiak is on my line. Good afternoon, Chidiak.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yeah, you're most welcome.
Okay, let's get it right. Mr. Alex, from your discussion, it means that when they are going for a trial of vaccines, you can inject a vaccine into somebody and his DNA can change. Does that mean that if a criminal is traced and somebody injects another DNA into him, he cannot be traced? That's number one. Number two, if clinical number one has failed, who do you hold accountable. Thank you.
Okay, great stuff. Right, so Alex, the gentleman started with a moral question and proceeded as if you'd answered, but I stopped at that point. Can you address some of the
Your
issues?
listeners are very discerning, and let me start from the fundamental principle. We have a moral duty to protect Ghana and Ghanaians. That is a sacred duty, and anybody, indeed at a global level, anybody who uses misfacts as evidence will be held accountable. Right. We have that doctor in the UK who said vaccines were causing a problem, and he was lying. He was hauled, and he has been banned. Right. So please tell your listeners that emotions, we are here to save Ghanaians. I will subject myself to vaccines. I will subject my wife, my grandchildren, and my grandchildren's children. We are where we are today, alive and healthy, because of the effectiveness of vaccines.
That's right.
I'll repeat, we are where we are because of the effectiveness. Have vaccines caused problems? Every medical intervention.
As we speak, Alex, and as you respond to this, there's a raging Ebola outbreak in Congo.
Well,
and the numbers are climbing. I remember in Kolebu when we were simulating and preparing for a potential Ebola outbreak, which never came, right? But even the simulation and the training frightened health workers.
I mean, I believe in this because not in my expertise also in dealing with vaccine hesitancy and all these issues. There was a trial in Nigeria.
Let me just tell my listeners, please do not video call our WhatsApp line, right? There's somebody video calling the WhatsApp line now. We do not take video calls, right? You can send your message and I'll do my best to address them. We are balancing text messages, WhatsApp, phone lines, and a live studio guest as well. So it's a balancing act. So video calls, please do not video call our WhatsApp line. Yes, Alex.
So, there was a medication, not even a vaccine,
right,
used in Nigeria, northern Nigeria, to treat a case of meningitis. What happened was that whoever did the work did not get ethical approval, and the rest is history. I will not mention the pharmaceutical company's name. Having said that, Noti, over the past few years, over the past 5 or so years, we have worked with the international community to develop vaccines against meningitis. We call it Meningo-Afric-Vac for all women from age 2 to 29, including those who are pregnant. Okay. And that has largely eradicated and eliminated meningitis in the northern belt of the Sahel region, including those in Ghana. So let the country know that the work we do, one, we take it seriously because it's a sacred duty. One life lost will be accountable to it. Secondly, internationally, in all countries, 194 countries of the world, we realize that scientific knowledge can transform societies. We work hard to develop vaccines and we balance the benefits versus the risks, to the point that there have been so many times when good products have been thrown away because we consider the small risk associated to them not justified if there are other interventions.
Okay, great stuff. I've got Oti who's been on my line. The gentleman who is calling and repeatedly calling video call to the WhatsApp line. It's preventing me from reading messages. Will you please desist? Thank you. Oti, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, you're welcome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prof. I think Prof is the number one person you have interviewed in your program. So it's type of program. Prof have been there a lot.
Right.
And I want to ask Prof about these fake people, the fake news, they always talk about this medicine is not good. What they are doing to them? They're supposed to be charged.
Okay, the people who...
And also brought to my TV already that these people alarm the first things about this.
Right.
They have been charged.
I'm definitely going to put something in the public domain that government should consider charging people for causing fear and panic.
Right.
It is seriously irresponsible to the poor man in town to bring something that you have no knowledge of, present it as facts, disrupt. You see, medicines, vaccines, or anything we do in the public health space are public goods. These are things to help the public. Anyone do anything to disrupt it deliberately really should be charged for causing fear and panic because it is wrong. Trust me, if we had not been doing tetanus, you know how many people would have died? If we had not been vaccinating against measles, ask any doctor in Kolebu. Since we introduced the 5-in-1, the Penta, the cases have just dropped, and they keep dropping.
Right.
Since we introduced rotavirus, cases of deaths due to diarrhea have gone down. So when people come in with no information, no knowledge,
right,
without trying to find out the basic information.
Okay.
It's not just irresponsible, it's criminal. And in the global community, in WHO, we've invited people. We say, come with your facts, come with your scientists, we'll pay for you.
All right.
Now tell us and let us tell you, because it is about time that we take the protection of the Ghanaians seriously.
Okay, great stuff. I got Ajiman on my line. Ajiman, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I hope you are doing well.
I'm well, and how are you doing?
I'm very strong.
Okay, share with us quickly.
Yeah, thank you, your guest. He has taken his time explaining things for us better.
All right.
My question is simple. When you talk of prevention and, preparing for vaccination, which one costs the most? Secondly, it was alleged some time ago that somebody was telling me some countries sit down and manufacture for certain diseases so that they will come out with vaccination for money. What is your take on that?
Okay, great. Alex.
I think, thanks for your questions. You use the word prevention and vaccination. In eradicating diseases, we use all tools. We take medicines, we sleep under bed nets, we give vaccines. Why? Because only one intervention will not solve the problem. Prevention is better than cure. Absolutely. But where you have a vaccine, the vaccine is more preventable than anything else. And we know it, and we know it works. Secondly, you raised a question about countries trying to, we call them the conspiracy theories. My brother, my sister, Ghana as a sovereign country, we have too many experts. Alex Dodu or anybody in any other agency has brothers and sisters, mothers and fathers, church members, groups. Do you think any Ghanaian will ever want to do that? The conspiracy theories, we've heard several of them. Believe you me, the question we normally fight, rather, is whether on balance, a vaccine is more effective than another intervention that could be introduced. Right. Okay. So normally our fight rather is that yes, the vaccine is working, but can it do better? Mm-hmm. And if it's not doing better, can we develop better to take away the old one? Okay. Vaccinations work, and we are working seriously towards eradicating polio, malaria, and other diseases, and we will. Maybe not in my lifetime, but not we will, because every information shows that in disciplined societies where there is transparency, and not let your listeners be aware that it is genuinely good to be concerned. Mm-hmm. It is important to be worried, and it's important to ask questions. But please, when you ask the questions, be humble enough also to listen to the answers, and to weigh the answers before you jump to conclusions.
Okay. Great. I got Kofi, who's been on my line. From Banana in Kofi. Good afternoon.
Yeah, but I think that we live in a freedom of speech country where you have to allow a caller, to ask questions. The attitude of journalists sometimes is very important. That's why we are not being developed.
Kofi,
finish asking my question, then you cut me off.
Kofi,
my question.
Kofi. Oh, he's off the line. You see, when listeners do this, I have a job to do, right? I'm balancing those who are also taking their time to send in WhatsApp messages. I've brought in a guest who you don't have access to, and we're balancing these things. So we've got to get these things straight. Nobody has any interest stifling your views. That's why we've got all these channels, WhatsApp. That's why we're even live on Facebook and YouTube. So please, 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 do us also that service, right? When we're doing these things, I'm watching a studio clock. There's another program. So the flow is what you benefit from. So apologies to anybody who feels I've cut them off, but I've got a job to do, and I've got ground to cover. Yes, Alex.
Kofi, with all humility, please be aware that we are here for one country called Ghana. Our passion for Ghana should be that we should do the right things. And Kofi, we are on radio, we are on Facebook, we are on all the channels. Every word I said is being recorded by several people, and it will be used against me. Yeah. So, Kofi, we are here to discuss the truth.
And sometimes the truth for Ghana. We even bring you back on a second program because we did not exhaust it.
Thank you. So, Kofi, please be aware also that in moving Ghana forward, when Ghanaians have led things and progress is coming to Ghana, it will be disingenuous, it will be wrong, it will be immoral to roll back the clock of progress for Ghana just because one person doesn't realize that in Ghana the views are multiple and they are different, and we have to balance all those views. I respect every view, but what we keep saying is that the evidence is unequivocal as we sit here today. If tomorrow the evidence changes, we'll come back again. But on the evidence we've had over the past 100 years, vaccines have saved hundreds of millions of lives. They have transformed societies. And Kofi, today, should there be a vaccine for HIV? Believe you me, even if we said it's not available, there will be a queue for people begging to go and use it. And that is how society have developed. Yeah. So the AIDS vaccine is also coming very soon. please watch, and Notti will bring me here when it's being tried. And I'm sure we have more participants for the trials than even for the vaccine.
Alex, we didn't exhaust the issues, and let's let them into another angle of this, which was to bring another colleague, actually the boss of the FDA as well, to join you. She's out now attending the World Health Assembly, and the levels at which monitoring and surveillance goes on, please. Some of these things, we don't bring them in for just talk. They are serious things we're talking about.
And at the risk of sounding as if I'm doing PR for her, she is a wonderful woman doing a beautiful job for God and country. Yeah. She's traveling, basically leaving your family behind just to go and work for God and country. And people think it's an easy job. Please believe you me.
Right.
Well, once you've been to a country 3, 4, 5 times, it's punishment, because what else are you going to do? But for God and country, we do this. And for us, my appeal, not seriously, is for all Ghanaians to take credit when Ghana is moving forward. To ask questions, to be very, very hard with their questions, but never, ever to start with the motive that people are doing evil. The number of doctors, nurses, pharmacists in Ghana breaking their back to save lives are more than I can mention. I'm not alone. There are several quiet people working. Who would give a vaccine which would damage us? I have taken vaccines. I still take. I take the yellow fever anytime I have to travel, every 10 years. And my children have taken all their vaccinations. They are up to date. And should there be a clinical trial, I will sign up, and my kids will sign up.
Okay, great stuff. Alex, we'll have to do a second take on this. Somebody says, why do they usually try vaccines in Africa? And I know there's information.
They have not tried. Most vaccines, 95%, almost 98% of all vaccines in the world were not trialed in Africa. Please note, were not trialed in Africa.
Well,
it's now that Africa rather is saying that you try it in people who are Caucasians. Are they the same as us? Let's do our own trials here. And that is what we are building the capacity for.
Okay.
Please note, the level of lack of knowledge is too big.
Okay, great.
Factually, vaccines have been tried mostly outside Africa.
Folks, I have to thank Prof. Dodu, and I see him deliberately trying to avoid the word ignorance. Listen to him, the level of lack of knowledge. But it's all good. I can remember times, even years back, in a psychiatric hospital, people used to die of septicemia.
Thank you.
Infection, which they got in hospital, right? But we will come back on this issue, and all the WhatsApp I could not read, I will print them out, and next week, right? And we only have an hour, so we try to do our best within the time frame. We'll come back on this issue. It's a very serious and perhaps a very emotive issue. And I understand all the people who are a bit charged about this. We'll get back to it again. Iggy is in the studio, sitting in for Belay on Sunday Rhythms, and I guess he'll cool you guys down with some good music, so that you build. Should I say? No, that won't be antibodies.
They'll build antibodies.
Antibodies. To
Indeed, the University of Cambridge in the UK are developing antibodies against rumors.
I see.
Yes, because they believe it's important, and it's actually having more news, which is good to drown out the bad ones.
Many thanks again to my producer, Bekusa Kofi, and thanks to Iggy for giving these few minutes to cool things down. We'll pick up your messages that we could not read, and then next week we'll see if we can do a deeper slice of this. It's a big issue, and it must be talked about, and we appreciate all your views, but we must keep it within the time space. My name is Notti by nature. I'm out of here.
Joy 99.7 FM.